this person gets a lot of energy and strength and passion whenever they are meeting and social networking with new people who are either foreign, from foreign lands. So it can be in your domestic land where you live, but people from overseas, or people who maybe live on your foreign land, but they're from foreign places, or by actually traveling. Because this is 12, right? This is the 12th house. When it comes to knowing where to put all your energy in, there are a few basic things that are good to look at. Well, that I look at when it comes to looking at your chart. Number one, where is your Mars? What is your Mars doing? And the reason why is because Mars is showing us where do you get your strength, energy, and passion from. Right there and then, we know that, let's say, for example, if Mars is in a third house, right? Third house is what? Third house is the house of communication. Again, this is all about the whole being passive and being inactive and not taking action, because the person feels that I don't know if this is going to work out or not. And a lot of people, believe it or not, it sounds a little bit crazy, prefer to regret not taking action than taking action and failing, which is basically quitting, right? Hi, my name is Parashara. I'm a Vedic astrologer, and I help people to find out where they're most supported in their chart. Why do they have the life that they have? Why are there these reoccurring themes in their life? In order for them to use that, gain that information, not only for information like other people, but also for transformation, so that they can turn it into leverage and utilize that to get the kind of outcomes they want in their life. Whether it's something related to health, wealth, whatever the case may be, it allows us to manifest what you want fast and easy compared to going through like trials and tribulations and trying to figure everything out on your own. This is not something I recommend doing on your own, because when you have to go online to find all the basic information, there's so much opinion and different ideas that you'll basically end up more confused than where you started. Everyone are unique in the sense that everyone has different areas in their life where they're more supported than others, right? I like to call it like your North Pole. And by the way, I don't have to hold a mic today or moving forward because I have some books here, keeping the mic up and higher so that way my hand doesn't get tired while I'm speaking to you guys. So let me scooch over here. So finding out where you're most supported in your chart is very important, especially when you suffer, like I have in the past and many other people, stagnation and procrastination. And one of the reasons why I've seen this happen a lot for people when it comes to things that they want to materialize in this life is because they just don't know where to start. And yes, you can just go with the good old Nike term of just do it, right? And just start. What ends up happening, we can use a relationship, for example, right? Someone goes ahead and dedicate a certain amount of time, resources, and energy into a relationship for 5 years. And then all of a sudden it goes to waste because that person was never aligned or compatible with that individual in the first place. That in my previous video, you would see it was all about the kind of partner you want versus the kind of partner you get. Yes, you are able to tell, I'm able to see if like the kind of partner you want versus the one that you actually been getting in your life. That's the reason why you always see people having that kind of similar partner situation ship in their life. When it comes to knowing where to put all your energy in, there are a few basic things that are good to look at. Well, that I look at when it comes to looking at your chart. Number one, where is your Mars? What is your Mars doing? And the reason why is because Mars is showing us where do you get your strength, energy, and passion from. Right there and then, we know that, let's say, for example, if Mars is in a third house, right? Third house is what? Third house is the house of communication. And it's a few other things as well. Like I have seen people who are really good strippers or working girls or athletes or people who are a little bit into drama in terms of like plays and acting, but it really depends on the other supporting factors to support that. But on a basic level, the person's ability to use their body, their ability to learn skills very well, and their ability to communicate very well. Now, just because Mars is in the third house does not mean that every single person has great communication. But what it does mean is that this person, when it comes to things related to communication, they tend to get a lot of energy and strength and passion when it comes to communication. So let's say, Virgo in the third house with Mars being there. Naturally, with Virgo coming from the sixth house, one of the things we can look at is details, right? And when you move that to the third house where Mars would be, all of a sudden you see that this person is very articulate when they speak. They have a very articulate, specific way of speaking. There are certain things that they say, there are certain things that they don't say. It's kind of like me, for example, because I have that placement. There are certain, like for example, I never cursed someone out before. It's just not part of my vocabulary. You see, my vocabulary is very articulate. There's never that one time where it's kind of like it just slips up, like it's just not part of my character, right? There's a very specific way of how my communication is expressed. Another thing is learning skills, because not only is the third house the house of skills, but it's also your ability to use your hands and also your body. So these kind of people tend to get a lot of strength and energy and passion from being active, right? Being active, staying active, learning new skills, learning new things, communicating. I'm communicating with you guys, right? And utilizing that in order to gain a certain level of passion, energy, and strength in their life. Wherever your Mars is, you're rarely ever going to feel tired or exhausted by doing those kind of activities, because it's just where you get a lot of your energy, passion, and strength from. Another thing in third house is also writing. So big writers, prolific writers, people who are able to write a lot within a short period of time. If I was to show you my notes right now, I have like thousands of notes. And within those thousands of notes, I have thousands of notes inside of those notes that I've been like recording every single thought that comes to mind since like 2016. It's just natural for me compared to someone else where they go on social media, they see someone who, writes regularly, and then they think to themselves, oh my gosh, I wish that was me. I don't have to work towards being a prolific writer. It just comes natural. Other things that you can look at in order to know where to put your energy in order to know how to manifest whatever you're trying to manifest. Let's look at wealth, for example. You need to know what is your bank balance. Your bank balance is going to be your second house. Okay. So whatever is in the second house, it does not have to be a planet. If we're looking at a specific sign in that house, then that is showing us the nature of where you get your bank balance from, because the second house is your bank balance. It's many other things, but it's your bank balance. And it's showing us your stored wealth. What is the source of that? Now, on top of that, we need to know where does your true wealth come from. And your true wealth comes based on where Taurus is located in your chart. So let's say if Taurus was located in, I don't know, Virgo, right? Not Virgo, my bad. Sixth house. Then we would see that there are many different ways, right? This is like, to come to a conclusion, there are many different ingredients to create the soup, but these are the different possibilities that can happen when a person has Virgo. No, my bad, Virgo, my bad. Because I keep saying Virgo because the original sign or soul of the sixth house is Virgo. So that's why I'm saying it. Taurus in the sixth house, basically where a person gets their true wealth is whenever they are being of service to someone else. Okay. Doesn't mean that if Taurus is not in the sixth house that people are not doing service to others. No, because a lot of things that we're doing is service to others. The only difference is, are we doing something that's service to others, or are we being the servant? That's where you can kind of start telling if a person is more prone or more inclined or more benefited to do things like a business or creating their own brand or doing something on the side independently, or should they go more down the route of, a 9-to-5. Now, everyone technically is able to do their own business and their own like brand and everything. Like you can see some of the ones that was recently created with my students here that I helped them create. But on a basic level, anyone can have multiple ways of making an income. And when you see where your true wealth comes from, let's say like the sixth house, for example, it's about being a service to others, because the sixth house, you can see a debt collector, or someone who's helping someone with their finances, maybe teaching them how to save, maybe not necessarily teaching them, but around the fear of either healing people, protecting people from obstacles, protecting people from criminals. It can be a correction officer with that. Because when we look opposite from the sixth house is the 12th house, and the 12th house is about isolation. One of the things is about isolation. And one of the isolated places that you can be apart from hospitals and asylums and ashrams are jails and even hospitals, but jails is one of them. So this is how you can start connecting the dot and seeing like, okay, where do I need to put all my energy in order to get, the fruits of my labor? So I'll show you guys here an example. We're going to speak about this person's chart. Okay. Where are they most supported? And where would they be putting all their energy into? When a person understands their manifestation style, they end up now having so many different ways that this can play out. For example, I had a student where they had a lot of support, or a lot of strength and energy and passion when it came to working with children, right? That could have manifested in so many different ways. That could have manifested as a book writer. That could have manifested like a book writer, like, children's book. That could have manifested as creating collages for children's schools. That could have been a daycare. That could have been being a teacher. That could have been being a tutor. That could have been being a mother itself. It could have been so many different things. It can even be creating food for children. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one specific thing, but by knowing what is where you're supported, where that umbrella is supported, everything under that umbrella ends up automatically becoming kind of like a foolproof method for you to manifest. Because now it's just something that you do it and you will see so much more progress in your life towards taking actions to that than trying to do something else, right? It's kind of like how I can see if someone should be investing or not, or daily trading or not. There are some people where they're going to do really well at it and they're supported in their chart. There are some people where they're not supported in their chart for like investing and gambling, and they're going to keep losing money until they learn their lesson and be like, okay, this is not for me. It's the same thing. So here you can see Mars. Today we're only going to go over like the basic stuff. I don't want the video to be too long. And then we're going to look at K2 and Rahu. Okay. This is the second house. So this is where the person's bank balance is from. Oops. And this is Taurus here. Okay. So this is where they get their true wealth from. So right off the bat, just based on where their Taurus is located, this is the first house. So this is the person's head and body. Right away, I immediately know that one of the things that they tend to think about a lot is financial security and how to make money, how to save money. Okay. Because this is their head. So it's showing us the way they think, right? What they tend to think about. And they want and need that stability. Now, Aries is the original brain of the first house. So we know that because Aries is the original sign of the first house, we know that if this is their head, this Aries is their brain. So these numbers are the zodiac signs from 1 to 12. So from Aries to Pisces. So we know that this is their brain. Automatically, it was moved to the 12th house, meaning that whenever they are in isolation doesn't mean being alone for the rest of your life. No, it does not mean that. It's whenever they take time to themselves, whenever they go travel alone, whenever they go hiking alone, whenever they, close themselves off from the world for, an hour or two, whatever, they automatically end up receiving the best ideas in order to manifest wealth for themselves, to manifest money. And it's very funny that that's one of the things they tend to think about, because look at where their skills are. Gemini is originally from the third house. That's why it's number 3. It was moved to their bank balance. So their skills was moved to the bank balance, saving the saving of money. Doesn't mean that people with this always are going to save money well, but if they wanted to, they will be able to manage money very well. And this is something that I've seen of one of the students, where they are a person who help people. They're an accountant, basically, help people file their taxes and to know how to manage their money and get the most in return back when it comes to their finances. So that right there, just without even looking at the planets, just by looking at the foundation, which is what all level 1 is about, going over the foundation of the chart, we already see that just by looking at this, and this. Mars being here, right? Do you guys remember what Mars is? Strength, energy, and passion. This person gets a lot of energy and strength and passion whenever they are meeting and social networking with new people who are either from foreign lands. So it can be in your domestic land where you live, but people from overseas, or people who maybe live on your foreign land, but they're from foreign places, or by actually traveling. Because this is 12, right? This is the 12th house. 12 is Pisces. It's coming from this house. So isolation can also mean going to foreign lands, because now you're in an isolated place. You're in some place that you're not from there. So you're in isolation. You're not around friends. You're not around families, unless you went on a family trip. But all of that energy, strength, and passion is coming from social networking and providing something to the masses This is the kind of person that would create, a whole entire course and program in order to help people, manage their money and save money and things of that nature. Now, it doesn't only have to be that. Let's say if I see other things in their chart, like their nakshatras, these letters you see here are different nakshatras, like Swati nakshatra, Vishaka, Satabhishak, Shravana, things like that. And let's say I ended up finding out, like one of the other students, where they are a model, right? They were a big model, did a lot of modeling work, acting, musicals, things like that. Then automatically I would know that their strength is going to come from singing. This can also be seen with food as well, because the second house is the house where it shows us what a person likes to put in their mouth. So there are many different ways that this can play out, but this is not like the end all be all. That's why a full reading is needed in order to put all the ingredients together to come to the conclusion on where the person is most supported in their chart. The last thing we'll go over, we already went over like Mars, like this person gets their strength, energy, and passion from social networking, especially with people who are foreign, right? From a different culture. Which one should we do, K2 or Mercury? Mercury is showing us like, where do you learn your skills from in this life? And I'll just gloss over it real quick. And I think the reason why I'm going to gloss over it real quick, because it kind of makes my point. Sagittarius is from the 9th house, right? 9th house is all about teachers, gurus, and mentors. So teaching and publication. Mercury is here in 8th house in Sagittarius. 8th house is all about, yes, it's also the occult, mysticism, things like that, forbidden knowledge. But it's also, in order to learn about those things, you need to do research. This is the house of research. This is the kind of person where they can teach people about finances and teach them all about the loopholes, because they've done the research. They are able to find the loopholes that an accountant or an average person who's in the finance field would be able to ever like find or get for their clients. Like it's amazing. Now you see how we're taking each of the different components and we're building on the conclusion that's already there. I'll go over this last one right here. K2 in the 4th house in Leo. K2 is showing us what did you conquer in the previous life, right? This person isn't too interested in having children, because Leo is from the house of children. 5th house, right? So 5th house, Leo, right? Is the 5th zodiac sign is from the 5th house. They're not really interested in having children, but if it comes, they'll take it. And the reason why is because K2 is cutting the interest based on where it sits. K2 is, the symbolism is sharp things, sharp objects. So scissors, knives. It's cutting the interest of this person wanting children. You know what else is also cutting the interest of? Having a home. They'll have a home in the future. Everyone eventually has a home in the future. But this feeling of K2 is, I've already conquered having a home in my previous life. So in this life, they can easily travel all the time, meet new people, and educate people based on anything related, anything. It could be anything they create. That's the best part. Anything they create about finances or helping people, anything related to this house on a basic level, right? Because this is skills, but we also have things that give them energy, passion, and strength. They already conquered this in the previous life. The home, the 4th house is the home, your dwelling. So because of that, they're not really interested in having a home. They prefer to be traveling, going overseas, or maybe if they're in the US, traveling throughout the US, meeting new people or meeting people from different cultures. That's their thing. That's their thing. Unlike other people where they may not have a home for a certain period of time or a temporary period of time, and they'll freak out. Like if their life is going to end or something, where other people, they're able to just hop up and leave, right? And when we're looking at the last component here is Leo. It's originally from the 5th house, which is what? It's up and down in terms of its speculative gains. Speculative gains, if I had to give you an example, is someone who buys a bunch of art supplies, make a bunch of art, and are hoping to break even and then some, like make some kind of profit from buying the supplies and making the art and selling it, right? So basically having a business, or basically putting money into something or investing time and energy into something and hoping to get a return back. This person has the support of that. They've conquered that in the previous life as well. So naturally, this is a person who has support to have. I mean, a lot of people can have support for having their own brand, but by having this clarity without having a job, right? That without having a job, they're able to tell, like, okay, I can actually do this. And I'll tell you, months later, they created their, they finished their program, they created their stuff for people, and they went all out. And they manifested a ton of money just from creating their product from this. But when you have a stranger telling you this kind of information, and it's something that they're already working on, but it's going so slow for years because they just didn't know. Again, this is all about the whole being passive and being inactive and not taking action, because the person feels that, I don't know if it's going to work out or not. And a lot of people, believe it or not, it sounds a little bit crazy, prefer to regret not taking action than taking action and failing, which is basically quitting, right? Or going through the hurdles or obstacles that they may face, and how people are going to look at them when it looks like it's not going to work out. People don't want to deal with all that. They'd rather just stay on default throughout their life. But this allows you to take that step and know that as long as your destination stays the same, you're going to manifest what you want. So click the link in the description. It's also in the comment to join the community today. There's only a few spots left before it is charged per month. So you guys better get in now before it is too late. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next video.